assurance of 12 lakh jobs was ridiculed as unrealistic. But now a new pledge from RJD takes this fantasy further. Tejashwi Yadav, through his pre-election pledge, is promising to create an additional 2.5 crore government jobs, more than 10 times the existing workforce. How is that possible within 20 months? The Niti Aayog, in its latest summary report for Bihar, ranks the state last in per capita income, showing how little space remains for new fiscal burden. So even if a scheme was ambitious, it could not be fulfilled simply because the state doesn't have that money. So yes, this is aspirational, but is a state government job for each family the only way to address aspirations, or is this merely enticing people into the comfort of a government job and perks without inspiring any enterprise and growth? And is arithmetic to be completely left out when making such claims? That's the big debate coming up on the show today. It is a freebie battle of sorts that has been ignited in Bihar. Parties don't like that moniker, but is it anything else but that? Also on the show, is the Congress government in Karnataka mocking the public when it is making light of traffic woes? We'll also get you how Mahendra Singh Dhoni was seen at the new Madurai Stadium. That and more is coming up in just a bit. So ahead of Bihar elections, the battle has now shifted to schemes and promises. Now, just before the elections were announced, BJP upped its Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana to cover 1 crore women of the state. This scheme includes a grant of 10,000 rupees to at least one woman in a family to start their own enterprise. So that's the straight cost of 10,000 crore rupees already that have been transferred. But the scheme also promises up to 2 lakh rupees of assistance after assessment of the viability of the business and otherwise. On the other hand, is this new offer that has been made by the Mahagathbandhan the promise of a government job per family in Bihar made by Tejashwi Yadav? The cost of something like this will be a whopping 15 lakh crore. Money the state doesn't even have, doesn't even produce. And then, of course, if the question arises if 2.5 crore new jobs can even be created by the government, forget 5 years, but look at the promise that Tejashwi has made. But let me expand this a little bit. The reason why Tejashwi Yadav's promise has already met with a lot of questions. Around 2.5 crore new jobs will have to be created at a minimum if this promise has to be fulfilled. So the scale of this scheme is 2.5 crore jobs, new government jobs. The cost of salaries alone will be 7 lakh crore per year. Why is this unfeasible? Because the state's current total budget is only 3.17 lakh crores, which means the outlay of this scheme alone, will be 2.5 times the full budget of the entire state. Not to forget, there will be administrative costs as well. Every state election is now throwing up the same question. Are parties playing with fire by announcing absolutely unfeasible and impractical schemes to attract voters? While the NDA scheme is targeted for women and empowers them to become earning members of the family, it also burdens the state exchequer, which is already not doing very well in the state of Bihar, and creates endless expectations of this kind. Already BJP has announced similar women schemes in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, both elections that they won. But this Mahagathbandhan promise takes it to another level. It energizes the youth, no doubt, that is hungry for work, particularly government jobs, but it is so outlandish that it can never be fulfilled despite the reasoning that the RJD is giving today. Now, the same has been witnessed in state after state. In Maharashtra, for example, BJP had announced the Ladki Behen Yojana. After its success in Madhya Pradesh, the cost of this scheme is 63,000 crores annually. The state budget is already above 8 lakh crores. Similarly, Congress announced many guarantees in Telangana. The cost of these are anywhere from 60,000 to 1 lakh crore per year, while the state debt is already burgeoning at 4 lakh plus crore. It all started with Karnataka in some ways, and we all know how that went. Most of the schemes were not fulfilled or conditions were added post results, and costs of many other daily requirements have been spiked since. cost of 50,000 crore annually for those 5 guarantees for a state that's debt is already above 7 lakh crore rupees. So is this election battle once again becoming a battle of unrealistic promises? That debate is coming up.
ये साइंटिफिक रूप से हम लोगों ने अध्ययन किया है और ये पूरी तरीके से हम अगर घोषणा कर रहे हैं तो ये मेरा प्रण है और जो हो सकता है वही हम करें, कोई जुमलेबाजी नहीं करेंगे।
तेजस्वी जी डरे हुए हैं, स्वस्थ होने का, समाज कल्याण का, नौकरी देने का बिहार के लोगों को सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे थे। उनको अब डर लग रहा है कि आने वाले चुनाव में मेरी कोई प्रासंगिकता नहीं है, अब अधिनियम बनाने लगे।
Saral Patel, Congress spokesperson, Dr. Ratan Sharda, author, and Sanjeev Srivastava, senior journalist, are joining us on the show. I'm also awaiting Kuntal Krishna, spokesperson of the BJP. But Saral, let me begin with you. Whether it's, Congress promises or guarantees in the past, or now this promise by the Mahagathbandhan of one state government job per family. I mean, even the public on ground in Bihar is not going to buy it, right? Because it's just not feasible at all.
Shivani, I find it quite fascinating that, in TV studios and on TV channels, we only start discussing about the arithmetics of any promise only when the opposition has made those promise. I don't remember seeing or watching any such shows when in 2014, Prime Minister Modi promised 2 crore jobs every year, and then how many jobs have been created in last 11 years?
But outlay wasn't a problem there. The government had the money. The outlay wasn't a problem. The government has a capital expenditure outlay of 1 lakh crore rupees.
The outlay was not the problem. I'm glad that you reminded me that outlay was not the problem. It is the will of the Prime Minister that is the problem. That is why the youth of the country are jobless.
So I'm not discussing the success of these schemes.
Then 5 years.
Saral, I'm not discussing the success of these schemes. We are discussing the promise that has been made.
4 years later, Prime Minister Modi very proudly came on the TV channels and said that, the youth can fry pakoras. That is also considered a job.
Why are you running away from the question I'm asking you? The question I'm asking you is about Bihar and the promise that has been made.
You are not hearing the answer.
No, what?
You are not hearing the
answer. The success of a scheme or of a promise, that's a separate issue. My question here is, the promise itself cannot be fulfilled because the state doesn't even have the money right now that will be needed.
So I'm first reminding your viewers about the promise a gentleman made in 2014. And then I will come to the promise that has been just made.
Okay, please come to the promise.
So in 2014, the 2 crore jobs...
No, you talked about 2014. Saral, I don't have endless time. Please come to the topic and this issue we're discussing.
No, you can't keep interrupting me, Shivani.
I did not. You made your point. Please come to the question.
No, you did not allow me to make the point. And this is not how you conduct a show. If you are asking me a question, you allow me a minute to answer my question.
You had more than a minute now, sir.
The answer. While you were continuously
I wasn't.
Interrupting me.
I'm not going to allow you to run away from the question I'm asking you. Then you can get full time.
No, I'm not running away from any question. I'm not away from any question. It is crystal clear that while Tejasvi was the Deputy Chief Minister for 17 months and while we formed that government on the back of the promise that we'll create 10 lakh jobs, the same people, the same studios, the same TV channels were asking us how we'll create 10 lakh jobs. But in just 17 months, he proved it by delivering on his promise of delivering 5 lakh jobs. So I'm sure we have a blueprint in place, and the people of Bihar will have a trust in us, and we will deliver on those promises.
Okay, so can I just ask you, the issue of 5 lakh jobs versus 2.5 crore jobs, I'm sure you understand the mathematical problem that we're dealing with. Obviously, every chief minister, I've said this in the start, every chief minister or incumbent chief minister or anybody who's fighting elections will promise a certain amount of jobs. This has taken it to the next level, where a government job has been not a job, a government job has been promised to every household. The outlay, the cost of this, the bare minimum salary that each of these government employees will get, the outlay of salaries alone will be 15 lakh crore. The state doesn't even have
About 9 lakh crores. About 9 lakh crores.
The state doesn't even have 9 lakh crores.
That is because of the current state of the misgovernance of last 20 years. Because the Bihar has not grown, Bihar has not attracted any investment. All the investment has been going to the other states. So when we form the government, we'll attract investment, we'll make it lucrative for the MNCs to do business with Bihar and in Bihar. And when the economy of the Bihar grows, so will the jobs in Bihar will grow. That is a simple arithmetic that we are working with.
And that will happen in 20 months. From the entire state budget of 3.1 lakh crore,
like you said,
you will triple it to 9 lakh crore for just one scheme in 20 months.
Like you said about Modi ji's promise that outlay was not the issue. It was the will of the Prime Minister that was an issue. Here, outlay may be an issue, but the will of the government and will of the RJD and Congress is not the issue. We will work for the betterment of the Bihar, and we will ensure that Biharis don't have to go out and work in the other states as laborers, and we'll create jobs for them at their home.
Okay, the outlay is not just an issue. It's not just a hindrance. It's just not there. It's not feasible. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not just an issue of whether you can borrow a little bit more and you can kickstart the growth in Bihar. You're talking about, even by your estimates, the state's entire budget, can we please run those numbers again, is 3.17 lakh crore, entire budget. 85% of that is revenue expenditure. The capital expenditure in Bihar today is just 40,000 crore. What goes into development and otherwise, you may increase it, you may double it, I say, to 80,000 crore. But for one scheme, 9 lakh crore, it's just not possible. I'm sorry, but I don't think even in Bihar, people will believe this, but it's an ambitious promise that they have made. Kuntal Krishna is joining us. Kuntal, the opposition's criticism always is that the BJP government also does a lot of these doles or, gives grants like you've done with the Mukhyamantri Mahila Yojana. How is that different to what Tejashwi is promising? At least he's being ambitious. You're putting money in the hands of women. He's talking about jobs.
Shivani, what we say, we try to do it. And in fact, we deliver it. And what Tejashwi and Congress is saying is simply ridiculous. It even cannot be a political gimmick. Tejashwi, he conceded his defeat and he is into utter depression, in fact, I should say. This is the state of depression. You are leader of opposition in Bihar, and what you are promising is not only a mere promise, it's like a daytime dreaming. Tejashwi is talking about a number which is not only unachievable, in fact, it cannot be even said that he is playing a political game. What he is talking is simply stupid. Both these Rajkumars, they have yet not grown. Congress ka Rajkumar or Lalu ke Lal, they still think that politics is a gutta gudiya play. Whatever they think in the morning, they simply come out with that.
No, but they're also saying that if you had also promised 12 lakh jobs, right, in Nitish Kumar's tenure, how many of them have been produced, and should you also not be judged by how much was the NDA government able to deliver?
Shivani, what we promised we fulfilled. If we said that we will give 10 lakh jobs, we have already done that. Now we are promising that in next 5 years, we will create crore opportunities, whether it is a job or it is a opportunity for living. And we are up to that. We have lived up to our words. Not like Tedashwi. What Tedashwi is saying, he is into utter depression. He has conceded his defeat. Anyway, Mahagathbandhan has conceded its defeat. That's why they are going for a proxy fight. This PK guy, PK is an ally of Mahagathbandhan in Bihar. And he simply speaks lies. What PK
So,
is doing,
are you
Tedashwi
saying-
is doing the same.
No, are you saying
PK
you're not
speaks
worried about
anything
this
without any
promise?
responsibility.
You're not worried about this promise that Tejashwi Yadav has made?
Not at all. Not at all, because this is a daydream. Everyone is laughing.
Everyone is
Everyone
laughing.
is laughing.
All right,
Everyone-
Sanjeev Srivastava,
We
did
thought-
Tejashwi
we thought
Yadav
that
or the
Tejashwi
Mahagathbandhan
had
go a little overboard by
thought
promising
Tejashwi
one
had
government
grown up.
job to every family in
Shivani,
Bihar?
See, Shivani, there is no
we thought
doubt
that Tejashwi has
that
grown up.
one has to agree that it's a very tall, and the word that you have been constantly using, outlandish or ridiculous claim, and it's impossible to deliver. But my question, like the Congress spokesperson was saying, is that political gimmicks and competitive populism, these are the order of the day, and they have started. So why should one question one side's political gimmicks? If 15 lakhs were to come into everybody's account, if 2 crore jobs were to be created, then by now 22 crore jobs should have been created in 11 years.
There's no
So-
difference between 2 crore and 22 crore. 2 crore was nationally.
No.
That number was national
crores,
number.
2 crores every year. But the thing is that we also need to discuss where have those jobs gone? Why have they not been generated? So you're completely within your right to question Tejasvi Yadav, and I think then it is more out of desperation, and because this 10,000 rupees that has been announced for women, they suddenly are on the back foot. All that is there. But I have a bigger question. Why are gimmicks of only one side put to test and put to question?
Okay,
the
can
other
you-
side is constantly.
No,
the
can
other
you
side is
give me
constantly
a
not only-
comparable gimmick of the
not
other
only
side?
failed on its gimmicks. Sorry, Shivani.
No,
The other side is not
Sanjeev ji,
only-
can you give me a comparable gimmick by the other side, which was something
Yes.
of this kind?
15 lakhs in every bank account through black money.
That was
coming
never
back.
an election promise. We all know that.
It
That was never
announced-
an election
it
promise.
it was announced in election
Prime Minister
rallies.
said it
No,
on
no, it
And
wasn't.
we-
It
and we
wasn't
also
announced. It was
heard-
never an election
And we
promise. It
also
was
heard
part
a
of no
statement,
manifesto
2
and
crore
nothing.
jobs every year. 2 crore jobs every year.
Yeah, so
Was it
you're
not
saying
a-
2 crore jobs every year
Every year.
nationally. 2
Yes,
crore
so by
jobs
that
every year
yardstick-
nationally is
by that
comparable to
yardstick
2.5
in 11 years,
crore state
by
government
that
job
yardstick,
in Bihar.
Shivani, in 11 years, we should have had 22 crore jobs.
No,
We
that
all
no.
know.
Now you're
So
getting into the
elections-
territory of
no,
whether
we
it
are
was
not getting into
successful or
any
not.
territory.
But
We may be
on
getting
the
into a
on the
territory-
feasibility aspect alone, 2 crore jobs was never questioned on the feasibility aspect. I'm just
Doesn't
sticking to
matter.
that
It is no. It doesn't matter. It's the outcome which matters.
outcome which
What
matters.
you promise, you may promise the moon.
Okay.
We all know moon won't be delivered. But the thing is that both sides have promised the moon and both sides have not delivered. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
How is the feasibility the most important test of proof of the pudding? That, okay, feasibility is there, you can make tall and ridiculous and outlandish promises. That cannot be the case. I'm sure you will agree on that.
No, I think feasibility is absolutely the right way to discuss any election
But
promise,
if there
and that is my
if
job
there is
that I'm
feasibility-
fulfilling.
If there is
But,
feasibility, can you make
One
can you
second.
make false promises if there is feasibility? No.
No, so you cannot obviously restrict promises on the basis of intent, right? That intent will be
I-
proved if someone is voted into power and after their term. I am only
think-
restricting myself
Yeah.
to the issue of feasibility alone when it comes to outlay
Sorry.
of expenditure.
Sorry, but by
One second, I have to bring in Dr.
restricting
Ratan
yourself
Sharda. No, one
by
second, I have to bring in
restricting
Dr.
yourself to
Ratan
just
Sharda.
one particular point, you are also making the debate restrictive.
Yeah, it is a very focused debate. It is a debate on whether promises
It's
are
a
being made
restrictive debate.
on issues of feasibility, or you can just promise anything without showing even the bare minimum of whether the state can ever deliver it. If this was 1 crore more state jobs, not state government jobs, nobody would have questioned him. The people are questioning him only because he's promising 2.5 crore new state government jobs, not jobs. Right?
I think that promise is
Okay,
that
Dr.
promise
Ratan
is so
Sharda.
stupid. That promise is so stupid that it doesn't even deserve a Who will believe 2.5 crore jobs thing? So
That's
this
precisely
is
what
there
I'm
is separate
discussing.
thing. I was
Sanjeev, now
talking
you're
about a
saying,
separate thing.
you're only agreeing with what I'm saying, that there is a principal opposition, Gadbandhan, that is promising this. This is their first big announcement. How are we supposed to take this seriously?
I am agreeing
So
with
the
Dr.
what
Ratan
you're
promise of
Sharda
2
is
saying.
crore
waiting.
job every
I
year
am
was
agreeing with
equally
what you're
stupid.
saying.
Okay,
But I am
okay. It
surprised
was equally stupid.
that you
Okay.
do not
Dr.
even
Ratan Sharda
consider
hasn't
what I am
spoken.
saying
Can I please
other
bring
than that.
him? Dr. Ratan Sharda, I think the point also is that this whole debate that what we do is not bravery, what you do is bravery. Has the BJP proven itself on that?
See, if I were in a political party, let us have in BJP or RJD, etc., I would not go for this freebie business. But I am not in politics, so I cannot really challenge that notion because BJP tried very hard to keep empowerment as the focus and not freebie as the focus. But finally, it had to buckle under the popular pressure, and it saw that it gets result. So that is where it is. But whether the promises made should be practical, whether they can be delivered in any way, and do we want people for life to become to get ready-made fish and teach them fishing? When we think of teaching fishing, our people laugh at self-employment. But the truth is that in India, self-employment is the biggest employment. I will tell the story of a journalist in Kashi who was fired by his TV studio, so unhappy, resigned. He started a litti choka business. Now he has got wonderful business running. Will we joke about litti choka? Now, coming to the practicality of the entire thing, do you think it is practical to give everybody job in government or try to create jobs? Is it really, will it take government anywhere where it's not earning any revenue and promising jobs to people because they don't want them to work in farms, they don't want to give them employment in another sector? So this approach of government jobs for everybody as if the job of the government is to give jobs because nothing else will happen, but not create jobs. That is my question. That is my worry. And I think that is where we should be. We can keep on talking, tumne kiya, maine kiya. Nitish has been winning elections because he has delivered what he's promised. Whether he's delivered 10 and delivered 5, and whether Tejas delivered 10 and delivered 1, that is for local people to judge. My only view is these kind of promises. See what has happened. Nitish Kumar and NDA have robbed the clothes of Mr. Tejasvi Yadav because he could offer freebies. BJP did it. Now, with a small amount of whatever is less, you have to promise something so big. Like it is not dreaming for moon, it is dreaming for sun. And we try to reach sun, you burn your hands, you burn yourself out. So let us understand these kind of promises people will not take. Bihar has been the biggest intellectual power of Bharat for a long time. It has been biggest political military power for Bharat in ancient times. That wisdom, native wisdom of Biharis will prove that very outlandish, very
Okay.
prestigious, and kind of giving fish to everybody every day will not work in Bihar. They are hungry for jobs. That is where I think this Jan Suraj party has a role to play. I hope it gets some foothold and makes people realize that this kind of competitive populism, where something simply impossible is brought
Impossible to
and people
deliver.
laugh about it,
The numbers
that
just
should not
don't add
happen.
up. It isn't just about whether it will burden the exchequer. The numbers just do not add up. Kuntalji, I'll give
And
you
you
30
cannot
seconds. You
give
wanted to
every
come
day
in.
government jobs. Simple thing.
Government jobs,
You
in any case, you
cannot.
cannot deliver so many. Anyway, I
Yeah.
understand that. Kuntalji, yes.
Shivani ji, see, Lalu and his clan is in upper desperation to come back to power. Now, when they have come to know that they are losing badly, they are into a highest level of frustration. And what Tejasvi is saying, what Tejasvi is promising, and what Congress is defending is either insane or their leaders has gone mentally ill, mentally unstable.
Okay. Well,
Please, even make those promises which can be fulfilled even partially.
okay.
You are leader of
Saral, final
opposition.
30
Either it's
seconds.
Tejasvi or Rahul Gandhi.
Saral.
Shivani,
Just
my
one
friend
minor
was quite
point,
obsessed. He
Shivani.
kept saying that
Just 5
Sir,
seconds.
I'll come back to
Tejasvi
you.
is depressed.
Ratanji, I'll come back to you. Yes.
Tejas,
I don't know any argument. I
Tejasvi
just
is
have a
depressed,
suggestion.
and
Yes,
Sir,
Ratan
can
Sharda.
sir,
we,
Ratan Sharda.
any party, anybody sitting here, can we please move beyond calling each other stupid, policies stupid? Can we talk policies? Can we talk logic? You cannot say Modi ne kiya, maine kiya, falana kiya, tum haar gaye, wo haar gaye.
Okay.
I said they robbed the clothes, so now you have to give something desperate. But this continuously, going to that level of calling everything stupid, I think we should learn some more language.
Okay, Saral.
I'm glad Ratan Sharda ji called out the BJP spokesperson. So
Everybody,
he was
including
quite
you.
obsessed by calling. I did not call anyone stupid, sir. I could have
I
done
heard.
that while you gave a example of Litti Chokha, but I did not do that. Please respect
It's
that.
there. Please visit
So let
Kashi.
me
Bhai
Sir,
sahab,
leader
visit
of
Kashi.
opposition
Don't call it stupid.
has to be
Sir,
Don't
little
call
sir,
bit,
me.
are you
little
Ask
saying
bit
the youth
Sanjeev
of
cynical.
the
ji.
country,
Ask Sanjeev ji whether there is
the
Litti-Chokha done by
government has
journalist or
the
not.
government
Don't
has no
call out. It's
job
there. Go
or
visit.
no role in securing the future of the youth of the country. And the Prime Minister should stand and very proudly say that a pakoda talo, that is an employment. Is that
So
the
you're
country that
joking
we
at the
want to
food
build?
business. That's
Is
why I
that
gave
the
the
country we
example.
want to build?
Don't joke about
Is
food
that the
business. Don't
no,
joke about
sir.
street
No, sir.
vendors.
No, sir.
That's
Is
the
that the
biggest
country we
job.
want to build for our youth?
One
Is
You
that
second.
the
want
country
everybody
we
knocker.
want to build for our
One
You want
future
second.
everybody to
generation?
be
One
a knocker.
second.
So,
One
You don't
so
want
second.
everybody
Shivani,
One
money.
second. I
Shivani,
don't think
I
any
was
job or
Don't
patiently.
joke
one
about
second,
street vendors.
Saral, I don't think any job or enterprise or self-employment needs to be looked down upon. Because by
Yes.
that logic, people could
It
say
needs to be.
government
It
jobs
needs
of
to
all
be when
kinds
the
are
Prime
also
Minister
problematic.
walks back on his 2 crore a
Okay.
year promise
Can I give
and
you?
say
I have limited
pakoda.
time, Saral. Can I give you 30 seconds to talk about the upcoming Bihar election promises, please?
Yes. So, I'm glad that we are dissecting the promises. I sincerely hope we also dissect the promise that Prime Minister Modi made in 2015, while in Ara it was more like a bid for the Bihar that he made by announcing the special package of 1.25 lakh crore special package for Bihar. Much of that has reached Bihar. He promised in 2015 that unless and until this sugar mill in Buxar is opened, he will not sweeten his tea. It's been
Okay.
7 years since that promise was made. That factory is being
Shivani, can I come
dismantled
in?
and land is being sold. He
Okay.
is also
No,
giving
fair
you
enough.
and I.
Fair
We
enough. You
cannot
can
buy.
always
We cannot buy
question
a
whether the promises were
lemon
fulfilled
juice for
or not.
one rupee. We
Okay.
cannot even buy a toffee for one
We
rupee.
discussed
But the
all of
Adani
that
is
when it
getting the
comes to
land,
Narendra Modi's
1,200 crore,
performance. We
1,200
discussed that
acre,
when it came to
1,200
2024
acre of
elections.
land
And I
at the
can vouch
pittance
for the
of 1
fact
rupee per
that the
acre.
state of the economy was one of the biggest issues we discussed when we talked about 2024 elections. His mandate has been given there, right? But, I'm not so sure why that should come into whether we're talking about a Bihar or a Telangana or a Karnataka. That's a separate election. This is a separate election. I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Moving on, Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge has stirred a social media storm with his recent remarks on the Bengaluru city's notorious traffic congestion, calling it a good problem to have. Speaking at the Mobility Symposium 2025, Kharge, who serves as the Minister for Rural Development and Panchayat Raj, said about 75% of Bengaluru's population is part of the working population. It's a good problem to have traffic issues. It shows we are growing. Kharge linked the traffic surge to economic expansion, job creation and migration, but the comment was widely criticized online. This comment, remember, comes after what Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar had said earlier. He had claimed that even London has similar traffic issues and that traffic issues are equally bad in other Indian cities like Delhi and Mumbai, but nobody talks about that. They're only focusing on Bengaluru. Now, Kharge has gone one step further to say that traffic is a good problem to have. It just shows that the city is growing. But here is what they are missing. Bengaluru is at the 3rd spot on Global Slowest Moving City Index. Citizen stories routinely make this apparent. City's average travel time is 34 minutes and 10 seconds per 10 kilometers. Bengaluru, in fact, is 50 seconds slower than last year, which is the biggest year-on-year rise amongst the top 5 cities. So clearly, it is getting worse, which is why it is continuing to get this feedback. But is the Congress government not only making light of what is their responsibility, but also mocking the plight of the commuters? That debate is coming up.
How to sort out the traffic problem, because even in London, 3 hours they have to travel. If they doesn't go to the public transport, if they are in the car, 3 hours.
Vastly, like a lot of people say that Bengaluru is having a lot of traffic issues. Yes, we are having traffic issues because we are growing. But we need to solve it as well. We can't say that, as a government, we cannot say that, look, we are growing, that's why we should not be solving it. It's a good.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Samrudh Hegre, spokesperson of Karnataka Congress. Anand Gurumurthy, spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, is also joining us. Anand, I will begin with you. As we played out, yes, Priyank Kharge says that it's a good problem to have, but he also says that as a government, we can't say we will not solve this problem. So is some of the criticism that is coming Priyank Kharge's way unfair?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. All over the world in primary school, we are taught something called as talk less, work more. This is what these people have to learn, especially the Congress government in Karnataka. They only talk, they don't do the work on roads or any other subject. They don't do any work. And one more thing that is coming towards Priyank Kharge, the criticism that is coming towards Priyank Kharge or the Bengaluru in charge Minister D.K. Shivakumar or our Chief Minister Mr. Siddaramaiah also. They have to take this plight of people very seriously. Making statements every day and trying to annoy people when their travel time is getting extended. And then people are dying on road and they're still mocking the public with these statements. It's very inconsiderate of them to do such things. They have to understand that people want basic infrastructure in place in basic requirement way that they are not able to do. And every day they have to make such statements to hurt people, which is unacceptable. And we have told this many times as the principal opposition party that have some funds allocated properly and then get the work done. But it's not happening. They're just showing their anger towards officers. They're trying to make a drama here. They show some anger in the meeting. It comes in the front pages of all the newspapers. And next day it's all gone. They're not worried about it. They're not fixing the things. They're giving a deadline. After the deadline, they'll again do a drama. That's what is going to happen.
Okay.
They're not seen as
Let me bring in Samrudh in here. Samrudh, it's not just one statement, right? It's a series of statements on the problems that Bengalurus have faced that has kind of, raised an eyebrow, because Priyank Kharge says it's a good problem to have. It shows we are developing, but clearly we are developing without plans, right? Because the city is not able to cater to that number of people or that amount of traffic. D.K. Shivakumar says London is equally problematic. That's not an excuse for what Bengalurans are going through. There have been statements where, even the pothole issue has been either brushed under the carpet or excuses have been made. That's not what you expect to hear from your government.
See, Shivani, we know that Bangalore's traffic has metastasized into a monster and that the daily commute has become a torture. And this problem that plagues almost every metropolis across the world has been caused by the cascading effect of serious economic growth, rapid economic growth, unplanned and unchecked urbanization, and a lack of planning. Now, we have to understand that Bangalore has around 1.2 crore registered vehicles. We have the highest intake of migrants, highest opening of businesses. Around 7 lakh vehicles are added annually. Now, these are not justifications. I am not sitting here making justifications to absolve liability at all. But these are factors that have to be considered while coming to the solutions. For the first time in a long time, we have a government that is listening. And not just listening, acknowledging the problem and acting proactively. Be it the pothole issue, when CNN had its own drive where they raised certain issues about potholes, all those potholes were filled. And we have initiated the systemic overhaul, be it the Greater Bangalore Authority, be it listening to citizen consultative groups, be it opening apps. We are a government that listens, and not just listens but acts. But there is a systemic problem, and the systemic problem requires solutions which can't be done in a day or a month or a year.
Okay.
These are systems that we are acting upon. We need to bring in better public transport. We need to bring in better facilities. See, I don't want to get into the political angle of it because Bangalore also has 16 BJP MLAs and all 4 BJP MPs, and funds have been allocated to them too. Right? This is an issue that we all have to sit together and bring solutions to.
I'm not sure if the MPs and MLAs will have enough funds to take care of
we have
the
allocated specific
transport
funds.
business,
We have
the
allocated
transport of the
specific
city.
funds.
That's not true.
We have allocated specific funds for the building of roads, and we have also brought in accountability with the contractors. So it's not like the government is counting ducks and not sitting on ducks and doing nothing.
Okay.
We are rolling up our sleeves and acting on the ground.
Yes, Anand Gurumurthy wants to come in.
Yeah, I see. Basically, I want to tell you about one problem, Shivani. Very simple problem. They are not listening to us. People are speaking about it every day. The AI traffic lights in Bengaluru. Okay, we all know that it's a technology city, and everybody understands to an extent that when AI is being used, it needs training data. These people, they switch off and switch on the AI lights as if every day, the traffic police are not maintaining it. Because when you ask the traffic people, right, why are you taking it to the manual mode every day? Because there are some VIP traffic going. There are some higher level officials who want, green corridor for themselves. This kind of activity is happening. And when asked, they will say, no, we let down an ambulance to go. That's not what is happening. Okay, they are trying to use the system built for ambulances to have their own VIPs going convoys and happily going green corridors. This is one thing. Second thing is, Shivani, I want CNN, IBN, News 18 guys, CNN News 18 guys, you did this thing, right, on potholes. Please go to the same spot and see. Okay, what were filled has come out because they're using very low quality materials and always doing a shoddy job, and they're mocking the public by not allocating the funds. Finally, the contractor is not even being paid for good work also. Good work contractors are being thrown out. Only people who are doing shoddy work are being invited.
Yes,
All
so
this is
I can say as far as that CNN News 18 report that you're referring to, initially one stretch was taken care of and the Deputy Chief Minister had acknowledged it. But then we got more updates about how there's a much longer stretch that hasn't been touched. And I think the government itself had accepted that there are more potholes that they can fill. That the rate of filling of those potholes is just not adequate because it's just too many potholes.
No, Shivani, there's one more thing. As I said in the beginning, they should talk less and work more. Every day they are giving press statements. Every day they are mocking the people of this city. Instead, let them go and see what the officials are doing. Everywhere there is chaos in whether it is, the census that is going on, there is chaos. The app doesn't work, something doesn't, function. Whether it is the pothole filling, there is chaos. They blame the rains. Now the rains have also, minimized, but still they are not able to do. Everywhere they create a confusion, ruffle the feathers. They want to be, whether it is the CM, DCM or any minister, they want to be in the front page of the newspaper. That's it.
Okay.
That is why they're becoming newspaper makers rather than fixing problems of people, and people are getting angry day by day. Now this is a question. Okay, not just the opposition party people like us, even the people they are telling if these people go, some work will happen.
These are absolutely not political sentiments alone, Samro. These are actual genuine citizen sentiments in Bengaluru. I want to point out, while Priyank Kharge may be right that the city is expanding, it is generating growth, it is generating jobs, and people are buying vehicles. But as far as the amount of work hours that are lost, the amount of productivity that is lost, mental stress, health risks, a city like Bengaluru cannot, be completely apathetic to that side of traffic congestion.
I definitely agree. This is not a problem that is limited to a political party. This is a problem that every Bangalorean is facing. And we are required to address this problem, and we are doing so. This is a government that's acting. And the last night we had torrential rainfall, despite of which we are working. These statements, they are saying that these statements are being taken out of context to distract from the real issue, which is the traffic congestion, which is being addressed. Right? You can't take 2 or 3 words out of context. And then I'm not going to weed into this 2 or 3 words being taken out of context for political gains. The issue at hand is that Bangaloreans are suffering. Bangaloreans are suffering. We have acknowledged that. Traffic is a huge issue. How do we solve that? Right?
Yeah, so when in March 2024, DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister and the Bangalore Concerned Minister was asked about the Bangalore pothole issue, for example, he said even God cannot fix Bengaluru's roads.
I will tell one more thing.
Shivani, these are statements which are being taken out of context. You have to take the whole context into picture.
No,
okay, let's take the whole context.
Have we not filled 13,000 potholes in the last month? We are raising these issues. You are raising these issues. We are very grateful to the citizens, to the media, to the opposition for raising these issues. And it is right that you are holding us accountable. It is right that you are auditing us, and we are acting on it. 13,000 potholes
Samruddh,
have been
I will ask you one
and
question.
we have to act on not just the roads, not just the traffic, public transport. That the entire system needs a mobility overhaul.
Okay, I'll come to that.
We
I'll
need a
come to that.
transport
Let
overhaul.
Mr. Anand come in because I have a question on that, on the mobility aspect.
Basically, there's one very important thing. See, when D.K. Shivakumarji was questioned, he told, I will bring up an app. They bought up an app also. I'm sure they've spent a hell lot of money on that. But Samruddh says we have, fixed 13,000 potholes. The apps clearly tag, people clearly tag, whenever it worked, it clearly tagged the geographical position of the pothole. So they can also show out a report, how many were fixed and what is the condition. They can just say it is fixed in the app. They have not done that part only. They don't want to do that because they can come in TV, they can come in assembly and say we fixed so many, but it's gone because of torrential rains. If they really wanted accountability, to happen, if they really wanted Bangaloreans not to suffer, right? They want Bangaloreans to suffer. I don't know for what reason we got this government, in position, which is they're really not worrying about the people at all. So they just have to map it. They've already mapped, right, where the pothole is. People have mapped and given them, please fix it. Now let them map back and tell that we have fixed it. And show us the numbers instead of, throwing numbers in television.
Okay. No, but on the issue of the fact that the government is accountable for it, Samruddh, my next question to you is only this. It's been 2 years since the government has been in power. I'm not suggesting that previous governments have done, much better work or anything like that. This is a systemic issue. It has been going downhill for a while now. But 2 years after being in power, a government that came on the back of many social welfare guarantees. 2 years after being in government, you can't say we're still figuring out the problem or we're still figuring out the solutions or that the ministers won't make headlines if they didn't make statements like this, and we won't be discussing this because we acknowledge most Indian cities are dealing with this problem. But, the positive headline would be when you talk about a solution or you talk about something that you're doing to fix it, instead of just showing either your inability, frustration at the questions, or these bizarre logics that even London is dealing with 3-hour traffics.
No, Shivani, it seems like as if there is a solution to this problem and we have not found the solution. Or we are not looking for it.
So you're also saying there is no solution?
There is a solution, but we have to look for it, right? It takes time. If there is any city in the world that has solved this traffic problem, we will have to look into those examples. Like I can't understand how someone can say that there is a solution, but you haven't found the solution.
No, but this is what my question is. Anandji, once again, Samruddh, my question was exactly this. You are not a new government anymore.
Correct.
You're almost through half of your term.
Correct. And haven't we brought in systemic overhaul? Even sitting on the studio, the BJP spokesperson spoke about the Greater Bangalore Authority. He spoke about the apps being launched. He spoke about the contractors, the good contractors making good roads. He admitted to that. He spoke about the potholes being fixed. Right? He spoke about AI signals. All these are measures to reduce traffic. Right? When the BJP is sitting here, are we sitting counting ducks? No.
Why are you not using it, Samruddh? That's what I'm telling.
Are we not acting on it?
Okay.
No, you're not acting on it.
The spokesperson himself has admitted.
No, you're not acting on it. I am clearly telling you, you're not acting on it.
He has spoken about the measures that we have taken.
See,
right?
Samruddh,
this is an issue that doesn't have us. That has a multi-dimensional solution.
Wait, hear to me.
It's not a.
I know. You want a brownie point, but hear to me. Listen to me. See, it is very different that. Hey, wait a second. Okay, wait a second.
That this has a one solution.
No. It has a very easy solution. You're spending money. You're throwing money at the problem, but siphoning the money. That's what
I'm telling. One by one, please. One by one. Anand Guru.
Samruddh, yes. I'm very clearly telling that you're throwing money at the problem, bringing in systems, but at the same time, there is something siphoning happening. Okay, the AI signals, they are not working. Why they are not working? Why you are not letting it work? Why? What is the reason behind it? Let it work for 3 months and see if it solves the problem. Then, otherwise, you're bought in a system which will not work. Second thing is simple fixing of potholes. You people are not able to do, and you come here and say, why are we not working? Where you are working? You are not fixing the potholes. There is money being poured in, but where is the money going? So people are suspecting that you guys are doing siphoning, and even the contractors association clearly says that Now it is,
Okay.
you know,
Can I
the
just
percentage
point
has
out-
gone to 60 or 80%.
Can I just point out, Samrud, I'll give you the final opportunity. You know, the reason why this is becoming an issue, let's say, more in Karnataka and Bengaluru than other cities and states. Also, we discuss these civic apathy issues from all cities and our metro cities especially. Look at the sequence of statements. It's not one, as we started out by saying, it's one after the other after the other. DK Shivkumar, not many days ago, said that they have moved heaven and earth, but mafias are not allowing them to solve the garbage issue. Now, is this what you want to hear from the Deputy Chief Minister?
So is that not an acknowledgement of the problem? Did he say he will not find a solution? See, Shivani, we have to. The issue is that statements are being taken out of context. 1 or 2, 3 words are being taken out of context, and you're making it a debate at 8 p.m. Let us listen, or 6 p.m. Let us sit and analyze the exact context in which he said.
That the government needs to do now. He himself said,
Correct.
we have moved heaven and
Correct.
earth. We haven't been
So-
able to solve this problem.
It is very
It's
clear
like
from
giving
the
up.
statement that
We
they have
haven't been,
resigned to
but
the
doesn't mean we
mafia
will
and
not,
they are
right?
working according to the mafia's
Hasn't
orders.
been, but doesn't mean we will not.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean we are not looking for solutions.
Okay. Anand Gurmurthy, final 10 seconds, please.
See, it is very clear that this, by the statements which all these ministers are doing, they are being ruled by the mafia. They have bowed down to the mafia. They are doing some siphoning of money to fund the Bihar election. That was already told by our opposition leader also. But somehow they are shamelessly running this government, and they are every day throwing stones through words at the people of Bengaluru and Karnataka. That's what they can do, Congress people. And
Well,
I'm sure people
ultimately,
will
the
teach them
public
a
will be
lesson.
the judge of whether efforts were made, solutions were tried, they didn't succeed, or whether this was all just shirked off. Time for a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you some special visuals of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Joined by an expert, Ashok Sharjnaj is here with us, former diplomat. So your first reaction, like Siddhant and I were discussing, it looks like India has come a long way from its engagement with Taliban 1 to Taliban 2.0.
No, absolutely. I very warmly welcome this development. I applaud the Government of India. I applaud the Ministry of External Affairs for the decision that has been taken. I think we have been moving very carefully, very cautiously, but very determinedly in a positive direction. I think this is the culmination for the time being. You know, it comes just short of the diplomatic recognition, but we are going to formally open an embassy. There will, as I understand, there will be no diplomatic recognition at this stage, but we will appoint a senior diplomat as the charge d'affaires there. And similarly, we will invite the Afghan Taliban dispensation also to open their embassy. So I think our cooperation in a wide variety of fields, depending upon what Afghanistan wants to work with India, which are the areas, but definitely in the area of training, education, business, visas, etc. I think that is going to be a very welcome development, and particularly if Afghanistan is also interested in security cooperation, I'm sure we will be quite prepared to give a positive consideration to that, because India and Afghanistan, as far as training of army personnel and soldiers that is concerned, has been long-standing, and we have our significant number of army personnel who are still in the Taliban forces.
Right.
So all in all, a very welcome development.
Okay.
And the government needs to be applauded for that.
So, do you see this decision of Government of India only from the security prism, given the reality of a hostile neighbor in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and having a good relationship with whoever is in charge of Afghanistan is something that we need geostrategically? Is that only the reason, or there could be other factors as well? One being that India is heavily invested in infrastructure development of Afghanistan, and there's a need to protect those as well.
Well, you see, I think it is not only security. Security is a major element. Security is a very significant element, but I think there are elements beyond that also, because we need to recognize that India and Afghan at the level of people, they have had very old, ancient, historical, civilizational links with each other. And you would recall that even after, Taliban came to power, and there was no, at that time we were very, very uncertain. There were no informal contacts even with the Taliban at that time. But we sent the 50,000 tons of wheat to them. We sent the large quantities of medicines, of vaccines, etc. So many things we sent basically because, and we made it very clear that it was for the people of Afghanistan. So I think at the people-to-people level, we have very strong linkages, and we want to nurture them.
But then, sir, I mean, once again, to bring back to the security question, IC-814 unfolded in the Afghan theatre. Yes, Taliban would argue that we did not have a direct role to play in the hijack, but it had unfolded there. The hijackers, as their second option, chose Afghanistan. Even after that, subsequently, there have been intel reports to suggest that Jaish-e-Mohammed cadre, Lashkar-e-Toiba cadre have gone to camps in Afghanistan and carried out training there. Even now in Kashmir, there are weapons from Afghanistan which are finding their way there. That's a security reality as well, isn't it?
Oh, it is a security reality, and that will be a subject of discussion between us and them. Once we have now a formalized sort of a relationship, then we will have this discussion and we will bring home to them. Because you see, Jaish and Lashkar, they were training there in the 1990s also. They were being received all the support, but today the realities, both regional and geopolitical realities, are very, very different. And we see there are reports even that Pakistan has bombed the TTP, installations in Afghanistan. So, that is very different from what it was earlier. So we really have to see the current realities, and we have to take cognizance and take our decisions accordingly.
And in the backdrop of Trump administration wanting Afghanistan to hand over the Bagram air base, how do you see India's engagements with Afghanistan in that context of US?
You see, Afghanistan is not at all interested, keen to share that base with America. And you would have seen that in the Moscow format, we have...
Mahendra Singh Dhoni enthralled his fans as he inaugurated the Vellamal Cricket Stadium in Madurai. He received a resounding welcome, and a young fan who kept wickets for him even touched Thala's feet. Leaving you with those visuals. Thanks a lot for watching.